Okay guys, so good evening everybody. Good evening. And welcome back. So finally we have sunshine. And so I hope everybody is still warm because even though we have sunshine, it's still a little bit cold. And so tonight we'll go through our third session this week. We're missing out Badette because she's on duty, but we are recording this session for her, okay? So she'll be able to catch up with the sessions. Although I have had these sessions on video in the past, but something new is going to be introduced tonight. And so we will together learn new stuffs this evening, okay? But before that, let's first check our homework, okay? Now, I'm just going to make this easy for all of us to perform. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to flash everything on the board. And so you have to check your own work, okay? So here, guys, are the two homeworks. I hope it's clear, okay? But those items represent the answers. Maybe we can zoom in. Hold on. Maybe we can go through each item like one step at a time. Okay, hold on, guys. You can adjust it for all of us. Let me start, guys, with numbers 1 to 11 first, so you can see this clearly. Hold on. Okay, so guys, here is, let's zoom in on the items there. That's the first 11 items. Take a look at those. If you have any questions, just please raise them, okay? Let's discuss them together. Okay, let me know if you're through so I can move on to the other items. Guys, take a look at numbers 9 and 10. Both these items have the same subject, and the word is wages, okay? Now, it may look like wages is plural, but in the first example, number 9, wages is a singular term meaning recompense or a payment for something, okay? That's why we say the wages is death. But in the other example, wages over here, it means remuneration, like salary, okay? And since wages in that respect has a singular form, wage, so clearly wages here is plural. So we say have in this example, okay? So can I now move on to numbers 12 onwards? Okay, so here, guys, are the items. Now notice in number 12 we say were the team, because as you can recall yesterday, when we say that a collective noun argue, then they become plural. So therefore we say were the team arguing. In number 13 there are actually two subjects and verbs here. The first is you and the word do, okay? But the other is the word children should agree with the verb are. Okay, if you're done, let's move on now to the last 4 items. Are we good? Okay, 22 to 25 this time, guys. Now for all of the items in this set, we have underlined the subjects. So we see if they agree with the given verbs or the corrections we make. Can we now move on to the beaver set? Are we good? Okay. So guys, if you can recall last night, we tackled the first 3 sentences up until swimming, right? So the rest of the items follows. Now, again, for each sentence, there is always a subject and a verb. So in those instances, we've underlined the subject and the corresponding verbs. So for example, the beaver's tail, which is, so that's correct. Okay. There's also another verb that also helps it to swim, referring to the tail. So therefore, helps is correct. But under fur is clearly singular. So we should say, keeps the beaver warm. Okay. In the next sentence, it should be, in fact, beavers have. That's correct. In the next sentence, we change beavers also has. That's wrong. So we say beavers also have long teeth. Teeth is clearly plural. So we say which grow all their lives. They use, that's correct, these powerful teeth to cut down trees, which they use, that's correct, for food and shelter. Another unusual fact about the beaver is, so the subject is fact, is that it is, that's also correct, one of the few animals that change its. Guys, what we have over here isn't really a case of a verb error, but rather a pronoun error. In our session on Monday, we'll talk about pronouns, but we don't use the word its to refer back to animals because its is for singular nouns. Since animals is plural, therefore it should be the plural there. Did anyone get this? Did you get this? Alright, but that's one other correction we should make there. Beavers create, that's correct, ponds by building dams with roots, sticks, mud, and stones. Each family of beavers builds. The subject here is each family. Builds a lodge or nest in the riverbank or in the middle of a pond. They build. This is correct. An underwater entrance to the lodge. This one bit over here, guys, isn't really a word noun, but rather a phrase noun. Okay? So what protects them from their enemies is having the entrance underwater. That's a phrase, not necessarily just a word. So that's singular, therefore we say protects. That's correct. Beavers is, that's wrong. Beavers are also very social animals. They don't only communicate with each other by making sounds with their mouths, but also by slapping their big flat tails on the water. The beaver's social beaver's social life, is complex and focuses, because it refers back to the life. The life focuses around the female. These very special animals are found, that's correct, in every province in Canada. Okay. So those guys are the corrections. Okay, I'm not gonna count, how many correct answers you got there. Okay. The important thing, guys, is that we are able to appreciate the concept of the so-called subject-verb agreement. Because again, both in your speaking and writing, this will be greatly applied. In fact, even in your listening and reading, some grammar like this is also applied. Okay? Okay, dokie. So let me just hold on, guys. Okay guys, let's learn something new tonight. Okay. And if you can recall, during the last two sessions we talked about two verb tenses. The very first is all about the past. Last night we talked about the present. What's missing? Okay, so we'll talk about the future verbs tonight. Okay. Now let's take a look at this handout over here. Past, please. Guys, the good news is that the future verbs are very easy to remember, okay? Because unlike the present and the past verbs, we don't consider the number of the subjects, okay? If you can recall, in the present tense, we say is or are. In the past verbs, we also say was or were. But in the future verb tense, whether it's singular or plural, it's the same all throughout, okay? Now, the key words we normally use in the future is the words will or shall, okay? Take a look at the first example over here. We use, guys, the future verb tense if you talk about actions that are yet to happen, okay? That will take place in the future, will also end in the future. For example, we shall visit Queenstown when? Next week. It is yet to happen. Therefore, we should simply come up with a shall or a will verb coupled with another simple verb. In this case, we say we shall visit. Okay? Now, we can also use, guys, the word will, just like in the next example. The shop will deliver the goods in an hour. So if it's 6 p.m., for example, then the delivery is due at 7 p.m. So therefore, it's yet to happen. So the formula, therefore, guys, is to use shall or will. Again, if we use the negated form, we use the word not, okay? So shall not or will not. Or in the contracted form, you could say shan't or won't. Have you guys heard of this word before, shan't? Okay. We don't normally hear this because this is old British English, okay? But we still use that. It's archaic, but because nowadays we normally say just won't, then it works for both shall and will. Now, question. Do you guys know the difference between shall and will? Is there a difference between using shall and will? Yes, Betty? I'm sorry? Which is the compulsory one? The word shall, and the will means what?
It's future, yes, but it's not really
compulsory or obligatory. Yeah, okay. Meaning you should do it. You are obligated to do it. That's why we say I shall do it. Guys, do you notice in contracts it's usually shall, right? In legal documents, the lessee shall. The contracting parties shall agree with the following terms, right? Because it's compulsory or obligatory to do it. What about will? Okay, take a look at the difference. I can cook, but I will not cook.
Planning.
Planning? Yes, Ellie?
Yung kaya na parang hindi ka pwede tumanggi, parang hindi.
Sounds like obligatory, therefore. Okay, guys, when you say will, it shows determination. Okay, so for example, I don't know how to cook, but I will cook. So I'm determined to do it. Okay. However, guys, in usual practical English, shall and will are interchangeable. Okay. So if you just want to know, guys, exactly what the differences are, basically speaking, we say shall if it's obligation, will on the other hand if you are determined to do something. Okay, you may not be obliged, but you will do it because you are determined to do it. Like when you say I will do it, right? That's determination. Now, for these examples over here, you of course add only a simple verb. Okay, so I shan't or won't go, won't buy, shan't buy. Okay, it'll be a little too old school if we say this, guys. Okay? So that's why we normally say won't. They have the exact same meaning. So don't feel ambivalent using both or either of these because they have the same meaning actually. Okay. So the goal here is to focus on the start of the event. Now, I'm emphasizing this one, guys, because there's another future verb form that focuses on something else, okay? But first, take a look at form number 2 here, okay? If you talk about an action that will happen or continue at a definite future time. Now, if you can remember yesterday, guys, I taught you about the so-called past verbs where we use the ing form.
Yes.
Even for present verbs, for example, say, I am talking at the moment. I was talking at around 6 p.m. the other night, right? So the same ing form also is used if you talk about a definite or specific future time. For example, the boys will be cleaning, okay, what is that? The office at what time? At 5 p.m. today, okay? It would have been different if it says the boys will be cleaning today. So in this case, it should have been will clean today, right? However, guys, in reality, these verb forms are often interchangeable already, okay? But if you want to know the rule is that if it's very specific, it is always the ing form, okay? Now, notice that we say shall or will be plus the present participle verb. It's an ing verb. Take note, it can also be a negative item. So we say, we shall not be attending the party tonight, okay? Or we will not be going to the beach tomorrow morning, okay? So it's the same thing. So long as the specific time is there, should be ing verb form. Another example, boss shall be handing over our assignments at the gala dinner later. So the gala dinner is specific, therefore we say will be handing over or shall be handing over the assignments. Okay? So that's the second form. Now the third and the last form, guys, we're almost done already, okay, is quite different because this verb form focuses on the end of the action. Okay? So earlier, guys, I showed you that we say we will do something if you want to highlight that it will happen and start at that particular time. So for example, if we say we shall visit Queenstown next week, it means to say the action will start next week. But if you talk about the fact that it will end at a particular time, then we use this form over here. We say shall or will plus have and the past participle verb. Take a look at examples E and F. Martha will have finished the course by the end of the month. For example, you guys will have ended this course by September 30th. Okay. Look at guys the phrase used here. Can you please underline the last part? By the end of the month. Can you please underline that? Now look at the preposition that's used. It's the word by. Okay. Whenever we use guys the word by, the emphasis is by that time it will have ended already. Okay. Another example. By 2025, my partner and I shall have become New Zealand citizens. Resident muna this year, okay? But after 3 years, hopefully, or 5 years, hopefully, we shall have become New Zealand citizens already. You see? So, let me highlight the difference, okay? So, let's take a look at the example of A. So, this is the present. Say this is next week. And this is second week. Alright? We say that we will visit Queenstown next week. But if we focus on the end of the trip, which is 2 weeks from now, then we say we shall have ended the vacation by the second week. You guys follow? So again, the third form over here focuses on when it will end, but the first form over here focuses on when it will start. Okay, let me give you another example. Okay, so my one other example earlier was by September 30th, we will have finished. We will have finished this IELTS course. Okay, when are you guys taking the exam in the IELTS? Say by the end of October. By end of October, we shall have taken the IELTS test. You guys follow? Let's go a little further. Say Christmas time. Okay. By December 25 this year, my family and I will have had our Christmas party. Take note, I said will have had. Now, why did we say had? Because had is the past participle of have. We will have a party on December 25, but by the end of December 25, we will have had a party already. You guys follow? Okay, let's go next year. Okay, by February next year, we will have become residents already. Okay, given the time frame. Now let's ask ourselves one more question. Let's think long term. By 2020, Harvey, what will you have achieved, or what will you have done already, career-wise?
By 2020,
But yeah, that's about next year.
I shall be promoted.
I shall have
Have
been promoted by 2020. Yeah. Take note, we say have been in this case because somebody would promote you, not promote yourself, right? So therefore we say been, okay? But another way of saying it is that by 2020, I shall have risen in my position at my company. I shall have risen, or I shall have been promoted in my job by 2020. Okay, how about you, Miss Betty? You were applying for a job, right? So what is your goal? Like, what's your time frame for that new job you are applying for?
By next month, I shall have been hired at the company.
I shall have been hired by the company by next month. Yes. Take note, we say been since somebody hires her, right? We don't say I shall have hired a company. No, I shall have been hired or been hired by the company. Okay, let me ask you, Joy, on the other hand. by next year, your baby will have been how old?
By next year, my baby,
She
shall
shall
have
have been.
she shall have been 13 years old.
Oh, no longer a baby. No longer a baby. So your daughter shall have been 13
years
next
old.
year.
Yeah, okay.
Or will have turned 13 by which month?
Next year,
Yeah.
October.
October, a Libra. So my daughter will have turned 13 October next year. So she'll turn 12 this year.
Yes.
Correct. Okay, how about you, Dada? What is your long-term goal, like 5 years from now? Say by 2025, what's your goal?
By 2025, I shall have been registered as medical technologist.
I shall have been registered as a medical technologist here in New Zealand. Yes, let's claim that, okay? Hopefully much earlier than 5 years, okay? Okay, how about you, Ellie? What is your goal, like, say 10 years from now, by the year 2029? What will you have achieved by then?
By the end, by the end, 2029.
2029, yeah.
I will,
Yeah, I will have,
I will have my family maybe.
I will have, you mean, you will have brought your family here to New
I
Zealand?
will brought my family in New Zealand.
I will have brought,
my family here in New Zealand.
okay, to New Zealand. So, by 2029, I will have brought my family here to New Zealand. Because the root word is bring, past participle of bring is brought. So I will have brought them to New Zealand. Hopefully earlier than 2029. Okay. How about you, Abe? Okay. What is your long-term goal 10 years from now? What will you have achieved in 10 years?
By 2029, my wife shall have delivered a new baby.
Okay, she was a little surprised by that, no?
10 years from now.
How many babies by then?
And happy.
So she was shocked. How many babies do you have as of yet?
2.
Yeah, 2. Okay, she will have delivered another baby by 2029. And your eldest would have been a teenager already.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, so guys, you get the idea, alright? So again, there are 3 possibilities. Of course, the most common is this, okay? So, can we now create our own sentences? Okay, it's a fairly easy drill here. So there are blank spaces there at the bottom, guys, of your page 1. And I'd like you to write down 1 sentence for each verb form. Fairly easy drill. Okay. So 1 sentence for every form over here.